What are some unwritten rules of sex? You should wash your junk beforehand. I thought this was common sense, but I've heard horror stories. I had an ex who rarely showered and expected BJS regularly. Needless to say, he never got them and wondered why, even after I confronted him about his stanky rod. Yeah, don't forget to wash the hand after. This is true for both men and women. Don't let somebody go down on you if the thought I should have showered comes to mind. A little tip, if you would like your sexual partner to tidy up before anything intimate, you can say something to the tune of "I'm going to freshen up. Do you mind if I go first?" This is true for both men and women. As a B woman, I can assure you that stinky nutsacks are just as unpleasant as a stinky cooter. Clean sex is great for everyone. Invest in some baby wipes, y'all. I came home from work and had a text from my so saying he wanted to go down on me. Only when I came home he was in the bath and I was all sweaty from work, so I just washed it in the kitchen sink instead with fairy liquid. If a queef happens and she doesn't acknowledge it, it never happened. Really, any farting noise at all. If she laughs it off you can laugh along, but probably don't laugh if she doesn't first. First time I had sex with GF I violently came and farted. Learned it was the best feeling life has to offer. I mean, it's probably written somewhere, but don't use baby oil as lube, or any petroleum product, for that matter. It can really fuck up a woman's plumbing, and it can cause condoms to essentially disintegrate. Oils/fats should never be used as lube when using latex condoms. On top of this, if you're male and about to use lube on a female, ask her if she's okay with the product you're using first. I can't tell you how many dudes have splashed baby oil on my junk without me realizing, and then the fucking pricks always say "ah sure it'll be grand," when I tell them it'll cause me a yeast infection. Of course it'll be grand for you. You're not going to spend a whole week with a burning crotch, because Ego McG doesn't know how basic consent or respect for others' bodies works. Don't try what you watched in porn without talking about it first. So that's a hard pass on the midget gangbang. Technically these are all written rules now. This guy, he's onto something. Don't forget to bring a towel. Shut up Towily. Don't put on Forrest Gump's background noise to cover up any noise you make when your roommates are out in the living room. I feel there is more to this story. Always end with a high five. Down low. When spooning and you give a little subtle thrust, if she pushes back a little, it's game on. Can confirm. If I press my booty into your junk while spooning, I'd also like that junk pressed into other places. Which is all fun and games, until I'm not in the mood and my girlfriend's ass is now taking up my whole side of the bed. Always pee after. If you are a man, give it a few minutes, though. You can't just fist an ass, because you saw it in the movies. What's poppin', Jimbo? Whoever is hosting should have cleanup materials readily available. Here's some sandpaper, now wipe yourself off. She can just use my face. Fuck that, just bask in the stank and fluids indicative of a job well done. Don't ask if she came yet. Counterpoint, it's okay to ask, but don't include yet. Orgasms can be difficult to notice in a new partner at times, especially if they spent their teens trying to be quiet. It's relatively easy to tell with comes, but for some women it can be very subtle, especially until they are more comfortable with you. Lasting forever isn't the mark of a good male lover. While endurance is good, women get bored, and vaginas get raw if you're in there too long thrusting away. I wish my partner would grasp this. Yes dear, you are a stallion. Your stamina is legendary. But it has been 2 hours, and I lost interest in this whole thing about 90 minutes ago when you came for the first time. Which is why I'm not allowed to have any more than 5 whiskeys according to the wife. From the people I've talked to about it, around 6 to 10 minutes is a good amount of time. If you have kids, lock your bedroom door. They will walk in to the door at speed because it's locked. Don't use teeth on the clit. Apparently some people need this to be verbalized. My girl actually likes a little biting. You can just do it through your lips. Fingernails need to be trimmed and filed down beforehand. Also, guys, before you go sticking in fingers in her, wash your dirty hands. Let her know when you're gonna come, when she's going down on you. Her decision, fellas. Guy becomes a complete asshole in my eyes if he doesn't tell me and just goes with no warning. Do not assume the person would like to be strangled or have their head pressed down in mattress not able to breathe just because it's your kink. Don't look them straight in the eyes and say what's poppin' Jimbo. So that's what I've been doing wrong. It's a two-person sport. Unless a kink is being acted out, both parties should be active and engaged in the experience. Edit. More than 2 people can be involved, but the rule still applies. Don't fart when someone's going down on you. That's a great tip for not blowing your wad too early. Hold a fart and you'll last for hours. Don't moan your own name. What if you're low-key a Pokemon? Foreplay. Yes. Apparently you don't remove anal beads, like you are starting a lawnmower. So that's what I've been doing wrong this whole time. I just let it rip like a Beyblade. Blood and shit starts going everywhere every time for some reason. Do not put anything in there, but without asking first. If it is okay then use lots of lube. How much lube? Lots? Stimulate your man through his orgasm. Whoa. How does that work? Vagina is way lower than you think. Where did you think it was? I aim for the asshole and move up a bit. I've heard this advice so often that I'm gonna have to start looking for it somewhere between her shoulder blades. Be kind to each other. Never make fun of each other's bodies. Help the other person feel like the most beautiful, wanted person. Always be on the same page with what's okay and what's not. There's going to be a bunch of awkward noises, some weird smells, and you're probably going to get body parts tangled in a goofy way. Go with it. It's supposed to be fun and nothing to be ashamed about. There's a difference between fucking and making love. Be clear with what the expectations are. If the big 3 words, I love you, creep out accidentally and neither of you are ready for it, it's fine. You say weird stuff in moments of passion. Sex and love aren't always linked, and that's okay. Be prepared for cleanup and aftercare. That's my list of unwritten rules of healthy sex. Edit. This is really important. If either person ever says stop or the safe word, you hard stop everything. Give no pressure to continue. No begging. You stop and respect them and their full consent. Don't say, you like that, retard? Isn't it you like that, you fucking retard? Always ask permission for bud stuff. Any stuff, really. Honestly, cuddling after sex. I think it should just be assumed, unless the other person says they don't want to. Or is this too cheesy? I have this thing where I get super horny when I'm high, but after we come I completely forget I was having sex. Husband was not impressed when he came out wondering I wasn't coming back to cuddle. I got up to pee. It's important. And I was wandering around with a piece of pie. I'm in kind of in a predicament with this one. I run way hotter than my GF, so after sex I want to kick the covers off and not be touched, but she wants to cuddle. I feel like a dick, but I need a good 10 to 15 minutes to cool off. I'm not a cuddler. Sex gives me energy. I want to get up and do stuff. I hate lying there all sweaty, especially if Jeff falls asleep and I'm lying there wide awake. Don't take the condom off when she says she wants to use them. That's a written rule. This is spoken. Taking a condom off without a partner's knowledge is, in fact, a form of rape. Foreplay is a really important part for both men and women. If you're having sex and the thought comes to you this would be funny, don't do it. Just don't. What if your partner is thinking the same exact thing? It could be in that moment that they realize they are soulmates and grow old together. Endurance and stamina are prized with sex, but many women don't want to have intercourse for an hour straight. Hands are washed, socks are off, fingernails are trimmed, poop knife is sheathed. What's wrong with socks? Don't presume that when you feel you are done, she is done too. Be a gentleman and finish the pleasing to her satisfaction. I cannot express how important this is. It really sucks when the dude comes, knows I didn't, and doesn't attempt to at least finish me off with fingering or something after the fact. Don't have a conversation with yourself during sex. But what if your partner is deaf? Gotta talk to someone. Not unwritten, but take care of your lady before you even have actual intercourse. Get her to climax. It will make it that much better for both of you, and then if you're a quick shot it isn't so bad. Basically foreplay. Don't be a jackhammer. Use some protection. I always wear a helmet. Take turns lying in the wet spot, or put a towel underneath. Cuddling is dependent on how rough the sex was. The more rougher and hardcore the sex was, the more you should cuddle her afterwards. Talk to each other. You're about to bump uglies. You'll smell and hopefully taste this other person. Might as well tell them what you like. Or for a perhaps shorter talk, what you don't want. And a safe word, if you're the adventurous type. Threesomes that involve two people in a relationship and a third party require a lot of planning and talking about beforehand being the third person, and having to endure a domestic argument in the middle of fooling around really kills the mood. Seems like a whole lot of risk and awkwardness and drama for some different sex. If you see poo, don't say www poo, yeah I poo. Don't play Lonely Island. You'll never guess where I just came from. I had sex. You mean, do play Lonely Island? To the gentlemen in the audience, because women who enjoy women don't generally do this. The clitoris is not an knob meant to be pulled, and it is also not the door close button in an elevator that you push vigorously over and over again. If you don't think you know what you're doing, and honestly even if you do think you know what you're doing, ask her what she wants you to do. She will appreciate it, and it will end better for everyone. Trust me.